About chemical industrial farming is it's actually a way to take incomes out of the countryside, because you spend more on costs of inputs and you earn less. And then when that industrial system of a negative economy, where the costs of production are higher than what you can earn, is made further negative by depressing the price of farm produce because of dumping through subsidized products, that's where farmers are losing income. So how will you turn that around? You turn that around by lowering the cost of production. That's why ecological farming, organic farming is so important. And how do you increase incomes? By two processes. One, valorize the farmers' quality of production more, and stop the unfair trade. Stop the dumping. Now, our call from India right from day one in the WTO has been against this issue of free trade in agriculture based on a combination of the US forcing countries like India to remove restrictions at import, which are called quantitative restrictions. And India was the first country against which a quantitative restrictions craze was brought on agriculture. And maintaining the subsidies that were supposed to have gone. And not just maintaining them, but actually increasing the subsidies. So you've got a very unfair arrangement under so-called free trade. And I think any government has a right to put quantitative restrictions, and in today's world has a duty to maintain restrictions. And that's what's called regulated trade. And I do feel on that issue, I think Chairman Tsai is actually starting to worry about what could happen to the food system. Yeah? Yes, Taiwan is only 30% food sufficient, but that 30% accounts for all the quality of your food. The imports is not what accounts for quality of your food. And I always say, if the mainland China's economy could create pet food and baby food with melamine in it, and children could die, we will work towards a melamine model of free trade. It's inevitable. People will mix junk, sell anything at all. There'll be no regulation. And that's the funny thing about free trade. It's allow those who pollute to be unregulated, allow those who sell hazardous products to be unregulated, over-regulate the farmer, over-regulate the citizen, over-regulate that little family restaurant with hygiene measures, etc., etc. So I think the fact that young people are leaving farming is because deliberately farming has been turned into a negative economy. There's nothing in it that says it must stay negative. Farming itself is a positive economy because it's a primary production. And second, everyone needs food, and everyone needs quality food. So if we set those equations right, there's no reason why young people don't stay in the village. I'm very satisfied that part of our movement in Livelihood, and we're a network of 500,000 farmers, some of my key colleagues are young people who've left the city to go back to the village to spread the movement of a fair and just and sustainable food system. So young people will return.
I'll say something quickly. There's a group of people who are formulating DPP's future policy, and there is a clear recognition of the importance of agriculture, the agricultural sector, and there's a clear recognition of the importance of community agriculture. And we do realize that there's a trend of educated, high-quality young people returning back to agricultural counties. And we do realize that because of contact with them, hearing their stories, we do believe that on the government side, there should be a provision of some kinds of infrastructure, or some kinds of policy framework that can facilitate those people in terms of education, in terms of for example, the commerce of those farm produce, and all those things that need to be done. And also in the past, the government subsidized farmers for not farming, and we see that budget can be put to much better use, active use of those kind of budget for to activate agriculture. And we do believe that community agriculture, community farming, should be a significant part of Taiwanese agriculture in the future. So after what I said, you would realize that how close we are in terms of the way we see farming and the future of farming. And actually, we read your books long before you came here. Yeah.
Could I just say one thing about this infrastructure issue? So I think that there's really 3 levels of an infrastructure that are needed for making agriculture vibrant. The first is that the Monsanto-driven research agenda is working debt. We need a system of research partnerships with farmers, and we call it participatory research in India. In every field, I think you can have participatory research, whether it be in seed breeding or it be in soil management, because farmers have knowledge. And the industrial model works on the assumption farmers are empty heads. Farmers are not empty heads, they're one of the most skilled human beings on the planet, because you have to have multidisciplinary knowledge of the whole system. We have created a university called the School of the Seed, where farmers come from around the country, and then they go back and start training other farmers. And that's how the shift is happening, to the lower cost, higher. Second is definitely marketing. Definitely marketing. And of course the third is the issue of making sure inputs are available. Now on marketing, we have established direct links, farmers to consumers. And the more direct the link, the more goes back to the farmer, because less is wasted. But one of the most inspiring government-initiated steps in this, actually there are 2 regions. One is Tuscany in Italy, has totally focused on quality and supporting their farmers, and they have one of the most prosperous agricultural economies of Europe. And in a country, in Brazil, where there's large amounts of poverty and also wealth, a city called Belo Horizonte, which was given an award by an organization of which I'm on the board, called the World Future Council. In Belo Horizonte, they didn't give subsidies, they didn't give anything. They gave space to the farmers for marketing, and said, at bus stops you can come and sell. In open parks you can come and sell. They gave the space, the cost dropped to half, because most of the costs was renting a place, all that went. And the farmers earned double, while the people paid half. Both sides gained. But the beauty of it was, because it was fresh produce, it became a place for democracy. Because when it's good vegetables, the rich and the poor will buy the same cabbage. So all the inequalities started to disappear, and rich and poor started to meet in these farmers' markets and the farmers' cafes. And I think those are things that Taiwan could implement. Globalization is based on the assumption that big is better. But I can tell you, India and China are going to have a bigger problem in redesigning their economies. Because, when a heavy animal turns, it's much more difficult to turn. But for light things, they can figure out how to change. Taiwan, as a small country, has a huge advantage. Huge advantage. And your smallness is the advantage. And I think you can do things that mainland China can't.